It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does, and great to have you with us on this Friday edition of the show. Tino Pattigno drops by later on to talk NASCAR. Enjoy Illinois 300, second race of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Robert Littal, founder of Black Sports Online, will hang out with us. Do we really need Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather in 2026? Do we really? I mean, Tyson's going to be like 60 at that, but do we really need that fight? I don't think so. And Al Bernstein agrees with me. He said so last night. So we're going to get to that. We'll also have Page versus the Prince, our 4 NFL picks for the first time in the 2025 NFL season. That's coming up to wrap up the show, and we start things in the NFL with Sam Yarnell, who is here with us on the program. Eagles.
That Mayweather fight's a real thing?
It is real. It is very real.
I saw that as a headline the other whenever it came out yesterday, and I thought it was like Twitter AI generated slop. I thought it was fake.
Nope, it's absolutely real. I don't know how. I don't know why, other than the both of them need money. You know, Floyd ran out of gambling money, maybe. I don't know. Maybe his gym that's right next door to me is not doing that well. I don't know. But they're going to fight in the spring of next year, and Tyson will be lucky if he hits Floyd once, as fast as Floyd probably still is at the age of 48. Tyson, it's just going to be Tyson chasing him around the ring, like somebody trying to catch a chicken in a coop. So, Sam, I want to start things out with the Eagles and Cowboys last night. And it wasn't the Cowboys defense that let them down in this game, Sam. It was CeeDee Lamb's hands that let them down in this game, Sam. Your overall impressions on what we saw last night between the Cowboys and Eagles, the delay, we'll get to the Jalen Carter stuff, but your overall thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys defense was, a lot better than a lot of people, myself not included, thought it would be. And it was impressive. And what else did you see from the Philadelphia Eagles? Looks like they probably took a step back from how historically good they were last year. And that's okay. Jalen Hurts, I tweeted it during the game last night. The MVP conversation may be opened. And I know people are talking about the passing and whatever. First of all, Jalen Hurts won his first, I want to say 7 passing attempts without a ball hitting the ground. I think he went 7 for his first 7. Maybe it was 6 for his first 6. And I mean, you saw what the guy can do with his legs, not only numbers wise, but you watch the tape, the way the guy can maneuver about the pocket. There are a lot of flashes there, especially with how that wide receiving core looks without targeting A.J. Brown. It looks a lot like it could be a Bills-esque offense, as the Bills were last year, and it could propel Jalen Hurts to that MVP award. I am very much open to that conversation at this point in time. I mentioned the A.J. Brown thing. I do think it's weird. I think A.J. Brown, as he showed you last year, is a temperamental guy, so if you're in that Eagles locker room right now, this is something that we got to take care of quickly, because I don't want it to be October and him talking to the media about all the teams he wants to play for.
Reading books. Yeah.
Other than that, Jason, the lightning delay was stupid. I'm kind of glad I fell asleep during it, because there wasn't very much that happened after. Those are my takeaway. Great start to the season, though.
Yeah, and boy, not for nothing. I don't know how many wins they're going to wind up with, because I don't know how much the calculus changes on the Cowboys off of that one game last night. Again, with no Jalen Carter, they lost that game on a night where they should have won. I mean, that's one at the end of the year. If the Cowboys miss the playoffs by a game, you will look back at week 1 and say, that's a game we should win with no Jalen Carter on the field. That's a game we should figure out a way to win. Ball in our quarterback's hands late in the game. And say this, Dak played well. And it's another one of those reminders that when Dak Prescott is healthy, he is still one of the top quarterbacks in this game. And with that receiving core and those options, they're going to score points. It's just a question of, are they going to score more than they give up? And I know that's kind of a common theme in all football games. Can you score more than you give up? But Sam, I was impressed with the way the Cowboys were able to move the football in that game. And if you're going to talk about Jalen Hurts at the start, you got to talk about Dak and what he did. But move away from that for just a second. The Jalen Carter stuff, which I didn't lead with intentionally because everybody's leading with that. this is the kind of stuff you're going to probably get out of Jalen Carter. And he can do all the apologies after the game he wants. And we can sit here and say it's never going to happen again and all of that. But it's the risk you run with a guy that runs hot on the football field. It's sort of the risk you run having that kind of guy on your roster. And if you're Nick Sirianni, you just kind of go, okay. We still won the game without him, though.
Yeah, there's one team in the NFL that would tolerate that kind of thing. And I mean, you saw that from the day that they drafted Jalen Carter. The other team being the team
Kansas
that
City.
they played in the Super Bowl last year.
Sure.
And I would say the reason that those two teams played in the Super Bowl last year is because they can handle people like this, right? Everybody's worked at a place. We can discredit like the NFL thing for a second, right? Everybody's worked at a place where they hired a guy or girl who is just objectively just weird. And they don't stick around for very long because they're not very well liked because they're weird. And maybe their history's a little cloudy. Everybody who's looking at their TV right now knows exactly what I'm talking about. Even Jason does.
I absolutely do.
It seems like Jalen Carter might just be that guy for the Eagles. And they were able to survive it through his rookie season last year. And I think winning a championship helps, and all the winning they did right outside of the very early parts of the season when that locker room was murky, it helps bring the spirits up and kind of handle that kind of a person. But, you know, Jason, early on in this guy's career, it doesn't look like he's going to last long in the NFL, despite how talented he is.
Did your calculus change on the Cowboys at all off of that one game?
I mean, no, because I was high on them. I said this on the show in the weeks leading up to the season. I think the Cowboys are a team that could surprise a lot of people this year. And I know everybody's, you know, writing them off completely because of the Micah Parsons move. You saw last night, they got young pieces on that defensive line, especially on the edges, who can replace Micah Parsons. I don't think that the Jalen Hurts rushing performance was due to the lack of success from Dallas defensively. You know, and analytically, they played a really good and very unique style of football. They were in zone for every single one of Dak's passing attempts, which I think happened 6 total times in the 272 NFL games last year.
By the way, CeeDee Lamb, 35 drops since entering the NFL in 2020. It's the most in the league. And he had 3 on Thursday. Let's just, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, we're just putting the information out there. Now, you want to be that guy, you got to make those catches. Plain and simple. Steve Ballmer is talking. What is he saying? Next. Coming up in 10 minutes, it's a Friday, and that means Robert Littal, the founder of Black Sports Online, joins us. Talk about some of the top stories of the week with him. I also want to get his thoughts on the Thursday night NFL opener. We got another game tonight in Brazil. On YouTube only for the first time. You're going to park yourself in front of your TV and watch YouTube tonight, Sam?
So I was talking about this at work with somebody yesterday. I think that it's not just YouTube. It seems like there's a big special broadcast that they're setting up on YouTube TV. And I was confused about that because yesterday we were talking, I was talking with one of my coworkers about how they always do the weird scheduling, right? Thursday Night Football's NBC this week. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, does that mean Friday night's Prime Video? No, turns out Prime Video's Monday night, I want to say.
No, really? There's a game on Monday night?
No, ESPN's got Monday night. There's Prime Video got a weird window in week 1. Regardless,
yes.
YouTube's got this. And it seems like there's also going to be a different broadcast or maybe a stat simulcast on YouTube TV. YouTube TV's got like 3 different channels set up for it.
Not a shock.
I'm excited to figure out the new way that I'm going to have to watch NFL football on Friday night.
Make sure you have subscriptions to 17 different services if you want to watch football this year. And as Scott Hansen said on Pat McAfee's show the other day, get ready for commercials on the Red Zone this year. Yay, because we got to make money.
I think I saw something. This may have been a couple of months ago. I believe it was in July when everybody starts to get billed for all these things, right? But somebody did an analysis, maybe it was
Yes.
Front Office
I know where
Sports,
you're
I'm
going.
forgetting who, to watch every single NFL game this year. I think you have to pay something to the
stupid.
tune of $2,000. I want to say it's 1,800, 2,200, something
ridiculous.
like that. Just absolutely insanity.
Yep.
I cannot believe
People will pay
that.
it. People will pay
Well,
it.
of course they will. You and I will pay it,
No,
dude. Come on.
No, I've got limits. Now, luckily, I have almost every streaming service anyway, because my husband and I like to watch a million different things. So we already have it, but not because we're doing the NFL. You know, the only thing I don't have is Sunday Ticket, and I refuse to pay for that because that's just a ridiculous price. I won't do it.
Best investment of my life.
Red Zone channel, yes. And I get the MLB.TV. We're blowing this whole segment, but that's okay. I've got the MLB.TV package through T-Mobile. That I use. I watch tons of baseball games, out-of-market baseball games. All right. Steve Ballmer has been sitting on the screen waiting for us all this time. Hi, Steve. He talked to Ramona Shelburne, and they played the interview last night on Scott Van Pelt's Sports Center with him trying to explain away the $27 million, $28 million, whatever it is, deal for Kawhi Leonard through this company Aspiration. And Steve Ballmer's response was very measured, I thought. I mean, he looked sincere. I don't know how honest he's being, you know. But he talked about the fact he owned 3% of the company, Sam. And he got duped too and lost that $27 million, which, by the way, is a drop in the bucket before you all, you know, your jaws hit the floor. It's nothing to him. That's couch money. That's couch cushion money for Steve Ballmer. I know, it's just sickening. I'm going to call him, see if he's got a few bucks to spare. But at the end of the day, Sam, you know, his explanation is plausible. And you know, as you and I talked about, I think the NBA is just going to want this story to go away because they don't want to have to do this with every single team. And if they do it with them, they're going to have to open up the books on all of these different teams and different agreements and arrangements they have. And I don't think they're going to want to do it. I think this thing goes away pretty quietly. I don't think there's going to be any action on this.
So I thought the same, and then it blew up, and I think I'm actually about to break another part of this story to Jason, maybe, because it's blown up again overnight. At 1:37 a.m. on the East Coast, Pablo Torre finds out. Pablo Torre himself broke another part of this story that was actually originally reported by the Boston Sports Journal, that there's an additional $20 million besides the original $28 million that went from Aspiration to Kawhi Leonard. Now, it is important to note that we are now
bankrupt because they were paying Kawhi Leonard? Is that what we're going to find out?
We now know, right, that there's a total of a reported $48 million that went from this company that has now gone bankrupt, Aspiration, to Kawhi Leonard. We also know that Steve Ballmer himself invested exactly at least $50 million in this company, Aspiration. Now, what I'll say is I am so unconcerned with whatever Steve Ballmer is getting behind a mic and saying. Pablo Torre sat down with Mark Cuban.
Yes.
And they published an episode, which I have researched and watched parts of and gone into this morning. And I am very interested in what Mark Cuban has said. And after listening to both of their sides and doing some other independent research myself, Jason, it really feels like there's something going on here. I don't know. I won't go as far as to say that Steve Ballmer inherently knew that he was essentially handing money to Kawhi Leonard through a shell company that eventually went bankrupt, that he was given, that was essentially run by scammers, as Mark Cuban has put it, right? I think that there is an element here that is being underreported, and that is Uncle Dennis. I want to know way more about what Uncle Dennis was doing between Steve Ballmer and Aspiration, because there's been reporting and sources from inside the Aspiration company at this point who have said that they were getting direct phone calls from Kawhi's Uncle Dennis, right? Now, Steve Ballmer, to an extent, does seem like he got scammed, and I do want to believe him, and I think there is an element of him that is telling the truth. But I don't think everything that was going on here was all completely legal under the salary cap, under the guidelines and the bylaws of the NBA and the NBAPA. I don't think that that is the case. This is a story that I'll be glued to through the weekend, through all of next week. I do think it is something that is going to develop fast, so keep your eyes on it, because it's going to either blow up even more or get swept under the rug, as Jason said, really quickly. And I don't know what the end game is, because I said this earlier this week on the show. The alternative is Ballmer goes nuclear, is the most powerful owner in the NBA money-wise, blows up everybody's books, and the whole NBA is reshaped as the way we know it.
It's going to be interesting. There's an NBA Board of Governors meeting, I think, next week. And it'll be very interesting to see how he's treated by the other owners when he goes to that meeting, and what the other owners are saying coming out of those meetings. Last thing I'll say on this in the last 20 seconds. Much of life is lived in the gray. And I have a feeling this story is probably a case of that. But there's a lot of stuff happening right on the margins, right on the edges of what's legal and what's not. We're coming back with Robert Littal next. Welcome back to the show on this Friday, and Fridays mean a few things. Page versus the Prince because it's NFL season. That's coming up a little later on. Tino Pattigno here to talk NASCAR a little later on. And this guy, the one and only Robert Littal, is here, ladies and gentlemen. The founder of Black Sports Online hangs out with us every Friday on the show. And today would be no different. All right, before I get into what I really want to talk about, I want to get your thoughts on the NFL Thursday night opener, which just felt like a steamroller. And then you get the lightning storm, and it breaks everything up, and the teams come out, and it just looked like a completely different game. Your overall thoughts, your synopsis, if you will, on what we saw last night with the Eagles and Cowboys.
It was cinema for, 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
Exciting, a lot of scoring, people getting thrown out, spit gate, season-ending injuries, brawls. It was everything that you can want for. But then the lightning gods, Thor, decided that, we were having a little bit too much fun. And I'll be honest, even on the here on the West Coast, it took a lot out of me. And I think it took a lot out of a lot of people, and the energy just went down. But yeah, I mean, sometimes the NFL is back, and you can just feel that the NFL is king. It's just a different vibe when there's NFL games on.
There were a few stories that hit in the last 24 to 48 hours that I'm dying to get your thoughts on. I was getting ready to settle in and watch the game last night, and then across my phone on TMZ pops this story that Mike Tyson is going to fight Floyd Mayweather next spring. And I damn near fell off the couch when I read this. Partly of laughter, partly of shock. I even invoked the name of Al Bernstein some way, somehow, as I was reading this. Why on earth in the year 2026 do we need Mike Tyson fighting Floyd Mayweather? I just don't get it. And look, after if he had put up a representative performance against Jake Paul rather than just standing around the ring and ducking and trying not to be a punching bag for Jake Paul, I would get it. But I don't know who needs to see this fight.
It's just money. I mean, you see what's going on with Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. That's a fight nobody needs to see. We really didn't need to see the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. You worry about Mike Tyson's health. We all saw what he went through just to get in the ring with Jake Paul. I don't know. I said this on social media is that I know a lot of people are going to be like, why is this? But then every time that it's on Netflix, then the ratings are just off the roof. So, people watch. I don't know if people like a train wreck.
That's what it is. I think it's the train wreck. I think it's the Sanjaya effect from the American Idol days. Yeah. I think it's the Sanjaya effect. I think people just want to see how bad it could possibly be. They want to see a 59-year-old man die in the ring. That's the only thing I could think of, because other than that, I don't see any sort of value in this at all.
It's always the individual that has that 1% that they're like, well, maybe Mike Tyson can knock out Floyd Mayweather.
He won't be able to hit him, Robert.
I know.
He's not going to be able to hit him.
It's that 1% in their brain that brings them. It was the same thing with Jake Paul. Maybe Mike Tyson can get one punch it. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way we're wired as Americans. But watch a bunch of people go and watch.
Will you go? Will you go?
If it's on the West Coast, yes.
Oh my God! You will waste your travel miles on that. You will leave the wife for a weekend for that.
I won't go if it's east of the Mississippi.
I don't think it will be. I think it'll be
in LA or Vegas. Why not a good trip?
LA, I could understand you going. I wouldn't even make the trip here for it if I were you. I mean, who wants to see that? I don't get it. Give me a thought on Angel Reese this week, because she found herself in a little bit of hot water. And there's another big WNBA story that I want to talk about. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Angel, who basically came out and said to the organization, you guys need to fix the roster or I'm gone. Then she got heat for it and apologized. I wonder if it's too little too late and they're going to just move her in the offseason.
Angel Reese is an interesting individual. She is. If you talk about just social media and kind of outside of the W, she's probably more popular than Caitlin Clark in certain aspects of what I would consider the internet and things of that nature.
She's got the podcast and all that.
Caitlin doesn't really do that stuff. In certain aspects, she is the number one WNBA driver of attention. But she's on a team that's been terrible for the last, 2 years. And I think it just kind of came to a head. There's a lot of pressure, on her. When you're off the court and on the court don't match, that's people are going to criticize you. You see Michael Parsons, with the podcast and things like that. So I just think, the right reporter got her at the right time, and her real honest thoughts came out. I never disregard people's. The team's not good. She didn't lie, but you have to learn as a young player how to, I guess, express that without throwing your teammates under the bus.
Is there going to be a WNBA season next year, Robert?
I think so. I really don't think they can afford to have a lockout. I don't know.
There's a lot of chest pounding right now.
Well, let's be honest. When Caitlin Clark got hurt, the conversations, the things like that have went down.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they fell off the map. I'm not saying people aren't watching, but there's once they stop throwing those things on the court, the conversations have been a lot less, and the media attention has been a lot less since that happened.
I agree, and somebody's got to read the room here. And I don't know who that person is that stands up. I know who it would be in the NBA. Who would the person be to stand up in the room and try and make a point and drive the point home that we can't afford a stoppage? I know who those people are in the NBA. I'm not sure who they are in the case of the WNBA.
I think there's some ladies in the WNBA that want a stoppage. I think they feel like this is the way that they're going to have. They feel that they have enough leverage.
Yeah, the people, it's like anything else, though. It's like any league. It's the people at the top of the food chain in terms of players who are willing to sit it out because they can, because they have money and endorsements. But that 10th person on the team, they can't afford to have a work stoppage. So that's where I think, there's going to be this disconnect, and you're going to have dueling factions within the league membership of the NBA, the WNBA Players Association, who are going to say, look, we need these paychecks. We've got to get back on the court.
Like most things, it'll come down to the last day, and it'll get done.
All right. You say so. You have a lot more faith in it than I do. There is a big story involving Caitlin Clark that I want to get to. We'll get to that coming up in a couple of minutes. And Steve Ballmer, we talked about it a few minutes ago with Sam, responding to the allegations of circumventing the salary cap that Pablo Torre has put out there. He's Mr. Breaking News. He's like Jim Carrey in, what was that movie? Where he's the newsman. I forget, with Steve Carell. Anyway, he's a lot like that. We'll get to it next. Coming up in 10 minutes, we preview the Enjoy Illinois 300, NASCAR's second race of the postseason in the Cup Series. Tino Pattigno will be here for that. Still got Page versus the Prince, Week 1 NFL picks coming up as well. All right, a few things I want to get to. First of all, what is your Super Bowl pick for this year, Robert Littal?
Super Bowl. I like the Ravens versus the Eagles.
Ravens and Eagles. That's one I have not heard of amongst the people we've talked to.
Yeah, that's going with Lamar Jackson.
You're going chalky.
To get over the hump. Yeah,
that's pretty chalky. Robert Littal, founder of Black Sports Online, hanging out with us on the show. So Steve Ballmer comes out and refutes this story from Pablo Torre, who has become Bruce Almighty. That was the guy I was trying to think of before.
He's just a security.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Well, he came out with a pretty scathing report on Ballmer, saying that he had tried to circumvent the salary cap with this deal, with aspiration. Ballmer came out last night on ESPN with Ramona Shelburne and said, look, I only own 3% of the company. They duped me too. I don't know how this happened. I just made the introduction. Who do you believe, Robert Littal?
No, I don't believe the owners. I mean, come on now.
You mean Steve Ballmer isn't being honest?
I mean, what else is he going to say? I mean, he can't say, hey, I did this backdoor deal, to keep Kawhi in L.A.
Uncle Dennis?
He does have some good. I will say he has some good plausible deniability. The fact that the company is a scam, and the guy's going to jail, the bankruptcy, and the fact that I don't even think Kawhi got paid the money, it does give him a little bit of a shield. But I mean, this is come on. I think this happens a lot. I think this is something that is prevalent in sports, and maybe the problem with Ballmer is he had a direct connection. With it, whereas another owner may not have a direct connection, but say, hey, go talk to my buddy, Tom at Tom Automotive over here. He may have something, for you, wink, wink, where there's no, connection. But no, I don't believe Ballmer. I think, because we remember Uncle Dennis?
Yes.
There was stories that Uncle Dennis wanted a
private jet.
Stuff.
He wanted a private jet.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Ballmer, who had basically just got into the NBA, was trying to make the Clippers as large as the Lakers. You don't think he had cut a little corners the way he'd be jumping around and screaming at people? Oh, no, I think he did it.
Yeah. I have a feeling the NBA is going to want to make this story go away quietly, though. Because if they look into him, they're going to have to look into every other team.
They're lucky. They're lucky as Kawhi Leonard. If it was LeBron James or if it was, Giannis or certain other players that I would say have more of a high profile, I think they couldn't sweep it under the rug. But for some reason, Kawhi is just so, I don't know, he's like a tree. He's just so quiet, know. And I'm upset no trees have been planted too, because that's really good for the environment.
What do you make of Pablo Torre and the fact that he's become sort of this investigative firebrand for sports?
I told you I'm worried about him. We don't this deep throat type of stuff that he's doing, but in the open, I guess I'm a little bit of someone that I would say is a conspiracy theorist, and I read all of that stuff, and I read all that stuff about people that tried to write about JFK and all the people disappearing and stuff like that. So I like it, the fact that he's kind of uncovering a lot of the things that maybe we already knew but didn't have any proof about. I just think he should be careful.
Check under his car. Check under his car before he starts it.
Because sometimes to get this information, and I've gotten information about certain stories, you don't get it from let's say, the cleanest individuals, of all time. So, I love what he's doing. It's different. It's fresh. Like you said, just keep an eye out.
All right. Back to the WNBA for a second. What is it? What are we to make of basically the lost season for Caitlin Clark? I compare it a lot to early in Steph Curry's career. He had the ankle problems, and basically it cost him a season or a season and a half early on in his career. I think it's kind of akin to that, where I think she's going to be okay long term. There's also a part of me. Can I be the conspiracy theory guy here real quick? There's also a part of me that wonders how serious the groin injury is, and how much of this might be Caitlin Clark saying, see what you got without me. See what the WNBA looks like without me. You want to all come at the queen? You better not miss. I wonder if there is a little bit of that to this. I'm not gonna lie, it crossed my mind.
She's such a competitor. I mean, she went after a ref the other night after the game. I just can't see if she could play that she wouldn't play. But it's sad. It's sad because I'm not ashamed to say that I watch more WNBA when she's in it.
Me too.
You know, she's my favorite player. And I don't think for some reason, shame has been put on if you're a fan or someone that says, I watch. Because if somebody says I watch the Cowboys for Dak Prescott,
parachute in. If you just parachute in on the WNBA, it makes you a bad fan.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You can't be that.
I don't think Lakers fans are watching Sacramento Kings games. You know what I mean? But so it hurtful, not hurtful, but I was disappointed that she didn't play because she's my favorite player. It would be like if Jokic got hurt for 50 games, I'd be like, man, that sucks. Or LeBron or whatever it may be. She's so young and there's so much pressure on her. I actually hope this helps her in a way because she's kind of moved a little back from the forefront because she's been hurt. So maybe next year things will even kind of out and we could just talk about ball and it won't be so much craziness behind her. But they need someone, I don't know who's helping her work out. I don't know who's doing all of that. But she's the golden goose. So they need whoever helps LeBron, whoever helps Derrick Henry or whatever. Those are the type of people that should be watching her body to make sure that, she's healthy going forward.
Robert Littal is the founder of Black Sports Online. He joins us every Friday here on SportsWrap. Check him out at BSO. I always appreciate you, my friend. Have a great... Oh, yeah. I love it.
Points down.
We proceed on this Friday edition of SportsWrap. We go from Robert Littal and our weekly hit with him to this guy. The one and only Tino Pattigno is here. Our NASCAR betting insider, SiriusXM NASCAR Radio and Tubi on the weekends. Catch him there with his insights. As we get ready for the Enjoy Illinois 300, NASCAR's second stop on the... I just always laugh at some of these names. The Enjoy Illinois 300. Bowling's got some weird ones, too. The Enjoy Illinois 300 this weekend. Second race of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, Tino, with Chase Briscoe, your winner, last week to start things off. Obviously, aside from Briscoe, the big winners coming out of that race were...
Well, not Josh Berry, who spun on lap one. Not Denny Hamlin, whose pit crew had a disaster of a performance. Not Alex Bowman with the same type of issue. Not Ryan Blaney, who spun out as well. I was taken aback by how many playoff drivers, at one point in the race, only 9 out of the 16 of them were outside of the top 10. So the guys that were able to evade the mess, Austin Cindric was one of them. Kyle Larson even had issues too. So it was the drivers that were sort of in mid-pack. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, like you said, Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, Wallace did well. Wallace had a nice race.
Yeah, so it was very interesting to see because Darlington is normally where those drivers step up and the cream kind of rise to the top. We didn't see that. Ross Chastain is another driver that maybe could have went either way. He had a strong run as well. So a lot of those drivers that had issues, whether it was pit road issues or damage, getting into a wreck like Josh Berry did, very interested to see how they come back from that this weekend because they're going to need to make up some points with everything they lost at Darlington.
What is unique to this track?
The track type itself. So I'm glad you asked that question. It is a configuration. It is an oval, but it's very similar to the style of Darlington, how the two sets of turns are different sizes. So the way I'm looking at it is they're actually opposite the way if you look at those two different tracks. But this track, Darlington's known for its banking and everything like that. This is a flat track. So from that standpoint, the high intensity braking zones are really what drivers are going to have to be cautious about. A lot of shifting going on into the turns as well. So to see that happening, I think is going to be interesting. It's also a newer type of racetrack. We've just started racing there in terms of the Cup Series in the first time in this next gen era. So 2022.
Okay. Let's look ahead to this race this week, obviously, and look at the favorites. Christopher Bell at 4-1 right now is the favorite. Ryan Blaney going off at plus 440 over on FanDuel. Denny Hamlin at plus 650, and then Joey Logano 10-1, Kyle Larson 10-1, and Chase Briscoe 12-1. What do you expect? When you look at this, last year it was Austin Cindric getting the win, a close finish, obviously there. Who ran out of fuel? Somebody ran out of fuel late
Ryan
in that race.
Blaney
Ryan
ran
Blaney.
out of fuel
Ryan
on the
Blaney.
last
That's
lap.
right.
And I remember very well because that was our pick to win the race.
That's gut wrenching if you had him to win the race, and he runs out of fuel on the last lap. Certainly edge of your seat stuff. But when you look at the favorites this week, which one sticks out? Is it Christopher Bell? Is it Ryan Blaney?
So to me, first up, those guys for sure. Ryan Blaney would be my favorite out of everyone. With him dominating this race last year, he led a bunch of laps, and he should have won it had he not run out of gas. But the thing is, it's not just Ryan Blaney who's strong at this track. His teammate Joey Logano, a first when they first started race here in 2022, a third place finish after that, and then a fifth last year. Austin Cindric won this race last year, but Austin Cindric's not a guy we talk about weekly in terms of winning races. He is very strong here, much like Austin Dillon has his track in Richmond, where he can go out and win on any given Sunday there. That's how I feel about Austin Cindric here. Because yes, he was able to get the win with Ryan Blaney having that miscue, but he was racing inside the top 5 during the stages, led 52 laps in this race last year. So as a driver like him, who needs to potentially win to advance, maybe not this round, but needs those points for the next round and moving forward into this playoffs, you have to imagine the emphasis is on that 2 car. But you know who else is a part of that Team Penske affiliation? Josh Berry. So are they going to throw a lot at that Josh Berry team in the 21 car to try to get them to make up those points they lost last weekend? I think so.
If you're a driver and you're not in the playoffs, is there sort of unwritten rules about how you race in these things that you sort of avoid wrecking guys that are in the playoffs? Is there sort of unwritten rules to that, or is it just every man for himself because everybody's trying to keep their ride?
I think it depends. So I would say yes, there is unwritten rules that you would race a playoff driver a little more cleanly than you would during the regular season. They have a lot more, to fight for in terms of a championship. But those guys out there, to your point, last weekend we saw it. Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, 2 guys out of the playoffs, racing hard with Tyler Reddick, maybe holding them up in terms of catching Chase Briscoe for the win. Those are 2 playoff drivers going up against 2 non-playoff drivers. So to me, I think it depends on who they're racing against. Some drivers have friends out there in the field to where they'll cut them a break. Oh, okay, you're a lap car, whatever the case may be. Here you go. You can pass me this time. But other drivers have a lot of enemies, and you may not see that happening. If Carson Hocevar was in the playoffs, people would not be cutting him any breaks, and we saw that himself not cutting Chase Elliott any breaks last weekend at Darlington. They're rubbing against each other at one point. So I think it goes hand in hand with the driver you are and how you race other people around you.
In the final 30 seconds, Shane Van Gisbergen won 4 times during the regular season, obviously on road courses. Is there anything we should expect of him until we get to those road courses?
I think this would be the track he has a chance to get a top 15 finish. The high-intensity braking zones and their sharp, tight corners is where he excels at on road courses, and this is a track that has it on an oval, but it's going to be tough for him to advance out of this round because of how his performance was at Darlington.
Bubba Wallace only 20-1, by the way. Some value there, maybe?
A little bit. He could have a strong run here. Was very fast at Nashville, a track type that's similar to this at WWT.
Tino Pattigno does a great job on NASCAR. Catch him this weekend over on SiriusXM and Tubi. Always appreciate you, my friend. Be well. We'll talk to you down the line.
Thank you.
We're coming back with more Sports Wrap. Paige versus the Prince wraps up the show next. All right, just about time to say goodbye on this Friday edition of the show. A few reminders. Don't forget, Sports Wrap weekends on many of these same affiliates. If not, check your local listing for time and schedule. It could still be on in your market, just maybe on a sister station. A lot of our gray TV, gray media affiliates throw us on broadcast for the weekend as opposed to their regional sports networks. Look around. You'll find the 30-minute edition of this show. Part of our conversation with Jabba Chamberlain will be there. Had a lot of fun with him on the program yesterday. Along with David Ardsma. Sports Wrap with Jason Page, the podcast, the audio version of this show, Monday through Friday, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Make sure to go and get that. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. You can watch us there Monday through Friday. I had a guy message me last night in Tampa who watches the show. God, I can't remember his name. I feel bad. Might have been Jake. I don't know. But a guy in Tampa messaged me last night during the game. Thanks for watching the show down there. We love you guys in Tampa. was saying, where else can I get the show? Sometimes, we get preempted, games, things like that. Hey, you can watch the show on YouTube Monday through Friday. It's available most afternoons, early evening. Watch the show there. Sports Wrap with Jason Page, commercial free, 45 minutes. Go and check that out. Also, Sports Wrap Shorts. We had 3 of them up there yesterday. It's another way to enjoy the show for the ADD Society. You can all go and watch the show there as well. All right, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 2025, or the 2025 NFL season, it's week 1, and that can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weekly face-off for sports betting bragging rights. It's Paige versus the Prince on the Sports Wrap.
All right, Sam Yarnell. Thank you, Chad Erickson, for that lovely introduction. Week 1 in the NFL. Every Friday on the show, Sam and I give you 4 winners. At least we hope so. Maybe this year we'll actually keep track of our standings. I say that every year. Sam Yarnell, you are up first this week. We'll let you go first because I think you beat me out by a game or 2 last year. So you get the honors. You get to go first in Paige versus the Prince. Give me 4 winners, sir.
Who knows, Jason? And I'll give it my best shot this year, but it seemed like last year was a tale of 500. Hopefully, I'll be able to improve upon it this season. All right, we'll start things out in New England. I got to go to it. This just feels too easy. Give me the Raiders and the Patriots under the 43.5. This one pretty simply comes down to it's a Mike Vrabel versus a Pete Carroll team. And Josh McDaniels is one of the offensive coordinators. Do you think there's going to be a lot of offense in that game? I sure don't. Give me Raiders Patriots under the 43.5. Next, I want to take the Arizona Cardinals. Betting against the New Orleans Saints this year feels like it's going to be shooting fish in a barrel. Give me the Arizona Cardinals minus the 6.5. I'll lay the touchdown. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has a big day against a bad Saints defense. Give me Arizona laying 6.5 against
Can
New
I just
Orleans.
say one thing real quick? I say it all the time. Teams don't know they suck in week 1. I am very leery. I'm very leery about taking home underdogs, crappy teams in week 1, because that's the game they steal. Go at your own risk, though, Sam.
I'll say this to further Jason's point, right? And I was thinking this to myself as I was betting the board. Every week 1, every year, there is always a game that nobody sees coming.
Yep.
And there's a chance that this is that game. There is a chance that this is that game. Last year was what? Patriots, Bengals? Anyway, my last 2. We're going to go Dolphins, Colts over the 46.5. The reasoning is kind of the inverse of the Raiders-Patriots game. Who's going to play defense in this game? Nobody. I'm going to take the Tyreek Hills and the A.D. Mitchells and the Jonathan Taylors of the world. Give me over 46.5 in Dolphins, Colts. And lastly, I went to the Jason Page School of Gambling for this one. Give me the New York Giants
You wanna lose?
plus 5.5 against the Washington Commanders.
Wow.
I like the New York Giants front 7. Give me a better front 7 than the Giants have in all of football.
All right.
I think they get to the quarterback. Giants plus 5.5.
All right. That leaves me with about a minute and a half here. So I'm gonna jam them all in real fast. Probably not as much analysis as Sam. You know what the funny thing is? I have 4 completely different games from you. Interestingly enough. Chiefs minus 3 against the Chargers. Kansas City, something to prove. Week 1, coming off the Super Bowl loss. I expect a big performance out of the Chiefs this week. Yes?
We said no Friday game.
Oh, that's bad. That's a bad job by me. It's a bad job by me. I'll make up for it, I promise. Jacksonville minus 3.5 against Carolina. You know how I feel about the Jags. I think they're an under-the-radar team this year. Give me the Jets plus 2.5 at home for the Aaron Rodgers Bowl. I love the Jets in this game. I think they show up, even if they're not a team you like, for the long haul this season. Again, week 1, I like them. Bengals and Browns over 47.5 in that game. Why? Because it's the Bengals, of course, and they're going to give up a lot of points. Yes, they'll score a lot of points, but they will also give up a lot of points. One more. Give me the Colts minus 1.5, since I got to make up for it. This game was on my radar. I'll take the Colts minus 1.5, Sam Yarnell, against the Dolphins.
That's you seeing it clearly. I'm in line with a bunch of your picks this week.
We got to go. We're out of time. That does it for us. Enjoy the football this weekend, Sam Yarnell. Enjoy the football. Thank you to Robert Littal. Thanks to Tino Pattigno. Thanks to you, Sam. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. College football this weekend, too. U.S. Open tennis. We didn't even get to that. We ran out of time. We'll see you on Monday.